This week's episode of Tech News Day is sponsored by Vincero and by Drop.
Now, this being a show about tech, we of course must discuss the biggest, most viral tech innovation sensation from this past week, and it's got nothing to do with phones or the internet. It's the Salmon Cannon, one of several fine products from the folks over at Whoosh Innovations.
Wow.
And yes, that's whoosh with two H's at the end for some reason.
Well, the first whoosh was taken.
Those bastards. Mm-hmm. They're not even shooting salmon out of a cannon.
Nope.
What a waste.
They're telling jokes that go over everyone's heads.
Yeah, the Salmon Cannon's actually been around for several years now and has occasionally attracted attention online during that time. I think I've seen it on Reddit a couple times, but for whatever reason, it really took off on Twitter this week because holy crap, just look at this thing. It's like a Subway, but fish ride in it.
Mm-hmm. Well, rather than a Subway, you might more accurately call it a hyperloop for fish, since the Salmon Cannon relies on pneumatic pressure and low friction to transport these fish long distances at 18 miles per hour.
Cruising.
The hyperloop is still just a concept, though, and it would be even more accurate to compare what's happening to these fish to the pneumatic tube systems that were common in banks and large office buildings before everything was digital. Except, unlike those systems, the Salmon Cannon spits the fish out at the end like a slide at a water park. Or a cannon.
Well, whatever you want to compare it to, the main question is still why the hell these fish are being transported at all, much less through comically long tubes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, the answer is man-made dams. They're great for electricity, but a real problem for fish that migrate upstream to spawn eggs. The traditional solution to this problem is what are called fish ladders, which should have been named fish staircases because they're way more similar to stairs than ladders. But whatever, they're basically a separate structure built around dams to let fish bypass the dam and actually make their way upstream. Anyways, it turns out that simply trapping fish at the bottom of a dam and then shooting them through a tube to the other side of the dam is a lot cheaper and more effective than building and maintaining a fish ladder. And it's a lot easier on the fish, at least physically. Mentally, it's got to be a toss-up between holy shit, this is awesome, and holy shit, what the fuck, I'm going to die.
Yeah. If they can even think at all. Regardless, though, way cooler than a lame fish ladder.
Yes, and more exciting to watch.
Yeah, it's fun.
Mm-hmm. You just gotta watch out for the smartest bear of the bunch who sits at the end with his mouth open.
Yeah. You gotta check this out. It's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's and apparently this is a great invention, and they're using it also to trap invasive species and shoot them into the sun or something.
Yeah, great. They can do that with
shoot them away.
All the mosquitoes that we've had in Los Angeles the past 2 years.
I don't know about a mosquito tube. They'd be very thin.
Yeah, well.
But
they also, the other one making the rounds right now is, because of this, it's another thing that's happened for a long, long time, but because of the fish, there's a video going around with the plane dropping all of the fish. Just looks like it's taking a giant wet crap.
Yeah, I ate too many fish. Mm-hmm. They had all you can eat at the sushi place, and I had too much.
It looks like a relief for the plane, though.
Yeah, and for the fish. Again, either terrifying or the funnest moment of their life, or nothing, because fish can't think. Who knows? Anyway, with this week's fish news out of the way.
Finally.
Let's move on to some Tumblr news.
Wait, Tumblr?
Yeah. Now, Tumblr was at one point, only a few years back, considered a major player in the social media space, as evidenced by the fact that in 2013, Yahoo bought it for $1.1 billion in cash.
A wise investment.
Of course, it's going to pay off. At the time, Tumblr's user base was constantly growing, and it was arguably the most popular blogging network around. So in Yahoo's eyes, this was a solid investment. And CEO Marissa Mayer justified the exorbitant price they were paying by pointing out that this was just the going rate for sites like Tumblr, as Facebook had similarly purchased Instagram for $1 billion just a year earlier.
Yeah,
that's just what websites cost.
They set the tone and everyone else has to abide by it. Well, we all know how Yahoo turned out. Yahoo was at one point a major player right alongside Google, providing services like email, advertising, news, video, and so on. But thanks to poor management and poor return on investment from the Tumblr purchase, Yahoo put itself up for sale and was purchased by Verizon in 2017 for $4.48 billion. A discount on the original asking price because Verizon almost backed out of the deal once it came out that Yahoo had experienced 2 colossal data breaches affecting billions of accounts.
Yeah, they're in the middle of buying it and they're like, hold on, you're going to take some money off that price for us, right?
A literal fire sale.
Since we're buying your fucking mess?
Yes.
That we didn't know about when we first offered to buy you guys? All right, cool.
They did the inspection and they found some irregularities.
Yeah.
Verizon then merged their Yahoo purchase with a previous dumb purchase that they'd made, AOL. As a subsidiary, they made a subsidiary called Oath Incorporated, and that lasted about 2 years before Verizon just changed the name to Verizon Media.
We got top men running all of these companies.
Yeah.
Anyway, back to Tumblr. A site which, while never spectacularly profitable, maintained a strong and dedicated user base despite being eaten by one big rotten diseased fish that was quickly eaten up by an even bigger rotten diseased fish.
Yeah, it's a life cycle of almost every animal.
It's a human centipede of tech companies.
It's a good comparison.
Tumblr was pretty low on the list of reasons Verizon would want to purchase Yahoo, but they owned it now, so you'd assume they might as well try to make the most of it. But you'd be wrong in assuming that, because they managed Tumblr so poorly that loads of child porn ended up posted on their site, and then they did the typical social media company response of wildly overcorrecting their initial completely avoidable error, in this case by banning all adult content, which of course was largely accomplished algorithmically and therefore involved a lot of false flagging, which ended up targeting a lot of LGBTQ content, which for many users was specifically what they came to Tumblr for.
Basically, this is what happened. Some kiddie porn made its way onto our site. Let's just fucking nuke anything that might be considered even remotely subversive and alienate a huge chunk of our user base who had absolutely nothing to do with that child porn that we let onto our site because we're bad at our jobs. Yeah.
There you go.
Anyways, you might imagine this caused a mass exodus of users, with a 30% drop in traffic in the 3 months following the December 2018 smut purge. Verizon then, of course, decided to just sell off Tumblr, and despite Pornhub making a pretty good case for selling it to them, this week it was announced that Verizon is selling Tumblr to Automatic Inc., the owners of WordPress. And this is for an undisclosed amount, but it's rumored to be at, around, or probably less than $3 million.
Yike.
So if that $3 million figure is correct, that means Tumblr is selling for less than 2.7% of what it sold for back in 2013. Great ROI.
Great ROI.
What could be done with all of those millions upon millions upon millions of dollars in a positive way instead of just squandering and wasting it all?
I'm just amazed that Tumblr ended up getting sold for less money than Machinima got sold.
Wow.
That is fucking mind-boggling to me.
Yeah. And they were both worthless.
Yeah. Both absolutely worthless.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, the WordPress people say that they have no plans to reverse any of the adult content policies that made the site cheap enough for them to purchase, so...
The cycle continues.
They bought it because some person in charge there just wanted to own a piece of internet history.
Yeah, I mean, look, it's $3 million. I got that much in my fucking wallet.
Yeah, I own Tumblr.
Yeah, I got Tumblr, whatever. Anyway, the story of Tumblr and all the companies that it's been passed between over the years is an enlightening look into just how utterly incompetent much of the tech sector is, and that's largely thanks to deeply ingrained Silicon Valley notions of treating profitability as something that you can just worry about later. MoviePass is, of course, the greatest example of this, with their entire business model built around just literally giving money away. But the same is true for seemingly successful companies like Uber and Lyft. The two ride-sharing companies are ubiquitous at this point, but neither of them has ever actually turned a profit, and now that they've both recently become publicly traded companies, we've got the data to back that up.
Both Uber and Lyft reported their quarterly earnings last week, and both companies are bleeding money like crazy. In just 3 months, Uber lost $5.2 billion.
That's like so many Tumblrs.
Yeah, that's a lot of Tumblrs. And while Lyft's quarterly loss of $644 million seems great in comparison, it's still an absurd amount of money. But that's okay because both companies are still swimming in venture capital investments, and the end goal of both of these companies is to stay afloat until autonomous cars are ready for prime time and they no longer have to hire and compensate human drivers. Cut out the human workforce and you've got a perpetual money machine on your hands, and you just need to survive long enough.
TikTok.
Yeah, but they also, Uber in the wake of this, like cut a bunch of R&D jobs entirely.
Yeah, but that was just for software, not for autonomous cars.
Okay.
They are fully committed to that because it's their only way out of this hole.
True.
Anyway, similarly, Snap, aka Snapchat, is another company that has never managed to turn a profit, and their latest attempt at figuring out a way out of their debt is the third incarnation of Spectacles. The glasses with a camera built in, so you can post short first-person video clips to Snapchat. Now, smart glasses are one of those things that have appeared in science fiction enough times to convince some people that this is something the general public would ever actually want, but the lukewarm or even hostile reactions to Google Glass and Snapchat's first and second-gen spectacles, they say otherwise. Regardless, though, Snap is back at it again with a new wireframe design featuring not one but two cameras, which allows for much better tracking of filter stickers and whatnot, and lets users take 3D photos that Snapchat converts into wigglegrams.
What the fuck is a wigglegram?
Well, wigglegram's a term that's been around a lot longer than this. Where like actual cameras that you could buy with multiple lenses.
Oh, okay.
And you can view them in a way. A lot of people turn them into GIFs. They're quite fun.
Wow.
The Snapchat basically does this like using an algorithm where it stitches the pictures together. It's a cool feature.
Sounds like a children's show.
Where the wigglegrams? Anyway, yeah, it's cool. Like every generation of this, I'm like, all right, cool design.
I owned the first gen. They were fine.
How many times did you take them out?
Quite a bit when I first got them, but I didn't necessarily use it for Snapchat. I just recorded the videos and like kept them on like my Google Drive.
Yeah, all right.
Rode a roller coaster with my dad. That's a memory I'll have forever.
Is it cool enough to pay $380 for this time around though?
No.
Which is a lot more. I think they were like $200 the first time.
I think it was like $150 actually.
Well, these are a lot more than
Yes.
that. So is anyone actually going to do it, or are hundreds of thousands of these things going to end up just sitting in a warehouse like they did last time?
I would venture to say that the latter is
warehouse. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes.
But what do you think?
Anyway, speaking of products that you can spend money on, it's time for a word from this week's sponsors, starting with Vincero watches. Right now, you can celebrate 5 years in business with Vincero because they're having a huge blowout sale. Everything on the site is on sale, no exclusions, and that includes the all-new Altitude collection that they just released. Vincero, they create exceptionally crafted timepieces at a fair price. Their products are bold, uncompromising, and the best value in their industry thanks to cutting out the middleman and selling directly to the customer. If you've been waiting to get one of these and you're hesitant on it and you've watched the show and you're like,
now's the time.
It's on sale.
Vincero offers 6 collections for men and 4 collections for women, each with their own unique look. With plenty of colorways available in each collection and interchangeable straps on all their watches, you're sure to find a watch that matches your style. Head over to vincerowatches.com/todaysale to take advantage of their biggest sale of the year. These are great watches, and there's no better time than now to pick one up for yourself. Again, that's vincerowatches.com/todaysale.
This episode is also sponsored by Drop. Here they come. They're formerly known as Mass Drop. They recently sent us the PC37X gaming headset, which is a collaboration between them and Sennheiser, and we've been working with it, obviously. We've heard us talk about it before. Yeah. They're a fantastic headset. They're great for gaming and, in our case, doing lots of internet and, browsing and editing. Lots of very long
Computer
YouTube
stuff.
videos. Yeah, it's getting hot these days, obviously. So the fact that these headphones have an open back design, that lets in air, and it stops things from getting sweaty. So it's great. They're very comfy headphones that aren't going to drive you crazy during a long gaming sesh.
And most importantly, the audio quality is great. Sennheiser's been making high-quality audio products for over 80 years, and it shows. When you're in-game, you can hear exactly where the footsteps are coming from and whatnot, and the microphone quality is shockingly good. Here's a quick sample that I recorded at home directly through the mic.
Oh hey, it's me at home, testing out that microphone for your ears.
So if you're in the market for a new set of gaming cans, we highly recommend the PC37X by Drop and Sennheiser. It's got over 10,000 purchases on Drop and loads of 5-star reviews. Head over to the link down in the description. Get $20 off your purchase of the PC37X. Again, if you're in the market for a great set of headphones, order the Mass Drop X Sennheiser PC37X by clicking the link down in the description.
All right. You going to keep them on for the rest of the time?
No.
Oh, well, at least your ears aren't sweating.
These are clean ears.
Anyways, let's get through some more tech news here, starting with YouTube news. You're here, sit down, you're on the site, let's hear about it. If you've ever gotten the impression that this website plays favorites and enforces its community guidelines selectively depending on how much ad revenue a channel is bringing in, well, you've got a million reasons to think that. And the latest reason is that YouTube's moderators straight up admit to it.
Oh.
Well, at least we know.
Case closed.
Last week, the Washington Post ran an article in which they spoke to 11 current and former YouTube content moderators who all said that popular channels get special treatment when it comes to rules about hate speech, bullying, graphic content, stuff like that, and they point specifically at examples like Logan Paul, Steven Crowder, and PewDiePie.
Yeah, according to these unnamed moderators, the way content moderation at YouTube works is different than other sites in that a lot of the moderation is limited to just making recommendations about a course of action to take, which is then sent up the chain to higher-ups who then make the ultimate decision. Now, the mods say that their recommendations are frequently overruled by these higher-ups when the videos involve higher-profile creators who generate a lot of ad revenue. The mods also, quote, describe a demoralizing work environment marked by ad hoc decisions, constantly shifting policies, and a widespread perception of arbitrary standards when it came to offensive content.
Yeah, I guarantee you anyone in a higher up position there is just clicking no on everything. Well, my job is done.
Yeah, every time I approve something, we lose money, and then I gotta go to a meeting at the end of the month and explain where all the money went.
One former moderator told the Post, "When I started this job, I thought, I'm going to help get bad content away from kids. Our responsibility was never to the creators or to the users. It was to the advertisers." In the wake of the whole Logan Paul suicide forest debacle, which resulted in merely a 2-week ad suspension, one mod says, "It felt like a slap in the face. You're told you have specific policies for monetization that are extremely strict, and then Logan Paul broke one of their biggest policies, and it became like it never happened." The article also gives some new insight into how exactly moderation decisions are made, or at least supposed to be made. There's apparently a rating system similar to the MPAA movie rating system that you're used to, and that ensures family-friendly advertisers don't get paired with R-rated content. Also, the software used to automate moderation tasks, it apparently breaks down or stalls constantly. And when that happens, mods are given unrealistic quotas that they can't possibly meet without quickly skipping through a lot of content. Anyways, absolutely none of what's in the article is surprising at all, or should be surprising to you, the viewer. So it's pretty obvious that YouTube is in the money-making business, and obviously that comes first.
I wonder what our rating is.
I want to meet our mod.
PG-13, R.
Maybe.
I want to meet our YouTube mod. I want to meet our FBI agent.
Yeah.
I wave at him all the time when I'm looking at my phone on the toilet.
Yep.
Like, hey, FBI.
Oh shit, he saw me.
But yeah, it's. I mean, that part is interesting. It did stand to reason that they have a rating system like that, but that it's so directly similar to the MPAA system. It seems like everyone would benefit from like channels getting like quarterly or annual sort of feedback, letting you know what category you're being placed in,
or what brands are advertising on it,
things you can do specifically to help your case.
Yes.
It's all just so opaque. And it's like we get demonetized all the time.
3 times in the last week.
3 times in the last week, and it's like sometimes I understand. I'm like, sure, fair play, YouTube.
We're not even going to request a review.
Yeah, but a lot of times I'm just like, I have no idea what could possibly be the reason.
Yeah. So thanks to our Patreon supporters, YouTube members, and of course the sponsors that sponsor the show, because otherwise, again, this show would be over by now because the amount of revenue that we get off of YouTube is negligible.
Thank you to Vincero and Massdrop for subsidizing our lewd behavior and crass language.
And of course, the Patreon supporters and YouTube members. Thank you. Anyways, moving on to some politics news. If you're American and you live in a rural or tribal area with shit internet where the hogs are just going wild.
The hogs, they bit down on my damn internet again.
They're carrying around those big giant balls and just wrecking your farmland. Well, Elizabeth Warren has got a plan for that. In the existing system, big telecoms, they basically have no incentive to expand broadband access into less populated areas because they're in the business of making money first and providing services second, like YouTube. Setting up broadband infrastructure in rural areas just isn't worth it to their bottom line, so why do it?
Yeah.
They can't complain. They can't even connect to the internet.
What are you going to do about it?
La 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 la, can't hear your complaints because you can't make them. Meanwhile, though, they fight tooth and nail to keep local and municipal broadband companies from setting up shop because that would make the big telecom's existing terrible rural monopolies obsolete. And in 26 states, they've made municipal broadband illegal.
Yeah, it's basically like if I run the one restaurant in town and I'm serving literal dog shit as the food and people are like, this is terrible. And I'm like, well, I've got a monopoly. I'm the only restaurant in town. And then someone's like, well, I'll start my own restaurant where we serve actual food. And I'm like, hold on, excuse me. Yes, Mr. Mayor, can you please make it illegal for this new restaurant to open up? I could choose to serve like decent food, but that would cost me money. I'd rather just keep serving shit and not have any competition.
I'd rather give you a small percentage of the money that I would lose, Mr. Mayor, to stop this than do anything else.
I'll cut you in on my meager profits. Anyways, Elizabeth Warren's proposal to fix that, if she's elected president, is to set up a dedicated Office of Broadband Access in her proposed Department of Economic Development, which would distribute $85 billion to utilities, nonprofits, tribes, and local governments to lay fiber in unserved areas, underserved areas, or areas with minimal competition.
They can just take all the loss from Uber and then deploy this.
That's how it works.
Yeah.
It would also, of course, overturn those laws that ban municipal internet, which Congress has tried to do repeatedly, especially in the last few years, but failed at every time because Republicans consider that to be socialism.
Not everyone, the internet is not a right.
Yeah, apparently not. Anyways, most of the major Dem candidates have floated similar policies, but Warren's is so far the most detailed. The Trump administration and Ajit Pai's, their solution to the rural problem is 5G, which is like not here yet.
Yeah.
I mean, the idea of
it would solve a lot of problems. For
it
sure,
would
if the coverage was there.
But like at this point, it's like we don't even know if and when it's coming because so much of establishing a 5G infrastructure is dependent on having a good trade relationship with China, where most of this technology is coming from, and we currently don't.
I just love the fact that like people in rural municipalities, literally, if this 5G dream becomes a reality, had to wait decades for technology to be invented multiple times over to gain access to what everyone else has had for 20 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's the sacrifice you make. You wanted to go live off the grid, and now you're asking for some grid?
Yeah.
Well, which is it, grid or no grid?
And a majority of these people aren't living off the grid.
Yeah, I know. They're just living in, if it would not be hard to set up broadband in these places, but the cost versus profit of doing so would be quite slim compared to what these telecoms are used to. So they just don't fucking do it. And companies that are okay coming in and making a meager profit off of it aren't allowed to do it. What a great system we've got here.
Yeah. It's almost like it's rigged.
Rigged.
Anyways, that's it for Tech News Day this week. Be sure to check out our other videos. We just did a video about with Jacob Wall's back in the news, crazier than ever.
Yeah, and we missed, right when that video went up, he got caught doing some other stuff.
Oh, wow.
He's on the case
for
Epstein.
Oh, wow. Okay. Anyways, check that out. Check out our latest episode of Weekly Weird News. They'll pop up in a second. Also, if you want to hear us just fucking go wild on Epstein conspiracy theories, we did that in our exclusive podcast this week, which you get if you are a Patreon supporter or a YouTube member. So head to the Patreon link in the description below if you want to sign up for that and check out that podcast. Actually, YouTube members now, they get it as like a video, an exclusive video. It's not a video, but it's an exclusive
which
thing.
Seemed like a cool feature, but for some reason, background play doesn't work. So I don't know.
We'll figure it out.
Still figuring shit out. Technology's dumb.
Patreon stopped allowing us to like direct link to audio
now
files.
they use like a token hash system, so like every link is unique for every 5 to 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
And we'll figure it out. We might host it on our podcast hosting service that we use for the other shows and then just do a private link or something. Anyways, we'll get it figured out. But if you want to hear us like just ramble on about Epstein conspiracy theories, that's where you can do it. Now check out those other videos right here, and we'll see you guys very soon.
Bye-bye.